All right, as you can see, we got our first shipment of steel in. This isn't all of the steel that we're going to be needing, but it's a good start, and we can kind of start fabricating right now. The first step in this process is going to be leveling these axles. I want to get them level because I actually think that it's going to be the easiest thing to do to actually fabricate the bed for this wagon in place. So that'll be our first step. I feel like I got all the weight there. We don't actually have a level long enough to go from this axle to that axle over there. So what we're gonna have to use is our laser transit. I don't really know how accurate it's gonna end up being, but hopefully we can get it close enough. Picked up by now. Well, the problem is equipment always works better when you turn it on. All right, so here's the plan. These big boys here, these are going to be the beams that are going to run from front axle to rear axle. These are going to be the major supporting members of the entire bed for the wagon. So those are going to be supported by a 5x5 material that I have over here that's going to be made for these brackets here. Once those portions that fit inside of those brackets are fabricated, then we're going to have the 4x10 steel beams actually fit on top of that, and those will be welded to the top of those. You beat me. Where you want to go? I mean, we could probably even put those open. Nah. I told you, it doesn't take me much to have to find a reason to buy a new tool. I'm pretty excited about this because in the past, anytime we wanted to cut steel, we'd always have to use an angle grinder. And those death wheels want to fly apart and kill you. So this is supposed to not only be a little bit safer, but the claim is this will cut steel faster using a blade, and also it's supposed to be cool to the touch. That's pretty impressive. That just cut 3/8" steel like wood. And that is completely cool to the touch. Do we have the speed square? No. That is my carpentry speed square. You're an animal. I might have to use. Apparently, this is too fancy for this job. That's the special one. Screw it. Let me have it. Huh? Let me have it. It's my special. Alright, like 3/8. You do not have the right size welding wire. Welding wire. I put 400 works. We shall see!
Make it so.
I'm not a welder. They're not too bad. Not amazing, not bad. Well, it is 9:38 p.m. and we are either going to make a really fun video, or you'll never know that this ever happened, depending on the outcome of it. But we are getting ready to take a fun brother road trip to Oklahoma to see if we can find a suitable match for a new addition to the family, that being a bulldozer. So I guess we'll see how that goes. So, you ready to drive 9 hours overnight?
No, but let's do it anyways.
See, here's the benefit of going on road trips with your brother. See, if it was your wife you were riding with, you feel bad about doing this. But when it's your brother, you just make him do all the work. 12 hours. 12 hours of driving. No pain, no gain?
No pain, no gain.
A little suffering's good for you. Well, unfortunately that did not turn out the way I wanted it to. That bulldozer was a little rougher than what we thought it was. So I suppose the search continues, but hey, at least y'all have some really cool travel footage. The wind is rough today. Hopefully you can hear me okay. You'll have to excuse the extra noise. I didn't really do a very good job of explaining everything that we were doing with fabrication of those mounts for this wagon bed, so you'll have to forgive me for that. It got really late that night. We were probably working till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and that next day we actually had to make that big trip all the way down to Oklahoma and Texas to see if we could try to look at some equipment that, as you see, didn't work out very good. But anyway, this is kind of what we got on those mounts. I am not a welder by any means, but I'm pretty happy with the way my welds turned out. So as you can see, these mounts are just a little bit different than the ones beside it. And the reason why is, as we have 4 different pillars on these axles, these up front are a different dimension than the ones on the back. So what I actually had to do was, each one of these are 5x5 steel. And this dimension this way, 5 inches was just fine. However, I had to cut it in just a little bit. So basically what I did was I just kind of trimmed it off, moved that piece in, and then welded it back on there. But I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. So this is about how these are going to fit. You can see here, that's where my little cut in is. It comes in just there. We'll have one 4x10 on this side, one 4x10 on this side, and that'll be the main structure for holding up the majority of the weight on this bed for this wagon here. So unfortunately we didn't get nearly as far as we wanted to on fabrication of this bed. So for that, Mally. So hopefully with part 2, we'll get a little bit further ahead on this. Just make sure you subscribe. If you see any things that you think that I'm just messing up on, I'm sure there's lots of engineers and people who fabricate equipment on a regular basis are probably going to give me a hard time about, but that's just fine. Leave comments, let me know where I'm screwing up. Until then, I appreciate you watching.